In part 2 of our Seniors Fair series, Julie Bouchard, a hearing instrument specialist from the Wellness Lab in Terrace Bay, Ontario, spoke to seniors of the importance of maintaining and treatment of hearing loss. Other health professionals and community organizations were on hand to support seniors with information and educational materials. The third and final part of this series will focus on safety in the home and how to protect against online fraud.
Hello, my name is Julie Bouchard. I work at Wellness Lab. I'm a hearing aid specialist, and I'm here today to talk about ear and hearing health and the services I offer at Wellness Lab.
So our next presenter, a proud Terrace Bay local, Julie Bouchard, is a hearing instrument specialist dedicated to helping others maintain and protect their hearing. After graduating from Conestoga College, she spent 5 years providing compassionate hearing care in Thunder Bay before returning home in 2023. Now at the Wellness Center, Julie is passionate about educating her community on hearing health, hearing intervention and prevention, while expanding services to include earwax removal and custom hearing protection. And I asked Julie, it's one of her first presentations, I think, and it's so wonderful to see one of our locals, expand their education and develop that. So I'm really excited to hear your presentation. Julie, come up.
Thank you, Kathy. Before we start, if you can't hear me today, that's perfect. You're exactly the group I'd like to speak with. So my name is Julie, as Kathy announced. I grew up in Terrace Bay, born and raised here. Returned back a few years ago and I've been working at Wellness Lab. So I'm a hearing instrument specialist, which is a really fancy way of saying I know a lot about hearing aids and hearing. So I'm a hearing aid specialist. The purpose of my job is to conserve people's hearing, but also treat hearing loss. So when I worked at Thunder Bay, I tested hearing, I fit hearing aids, I did everything. So what we'll cover today is what I do. We're going to talk a little bit about age-related hearing loss, why early action really is important. We're going to talk about hearing protection and what services I offer locally in Terrace Bay. So what is a hearing instrument specialist? It's a regulated hearing professional. It's a college route. So I went to Conestoga College, as you heard from Kathy. I'm able to assess hearing and explain the results clearly. I can fit and adjust hearing aids. And I provide long-term support and education. So a lot of people think you go and you get your hearing aids and you walk out the door and that's it. No, it's a very collaborative process, and we work together to figure out what settings, what devices, what programs are going to be best for you and your hearing loss, because everybody's is so unique and individual, and so are our lifestyles. So hearing aid specialists work with other audiologists and healthcare professionals. They refer to audiologists and physicians when it's necessary. So if there's ever a red flag, I would write a note to your doctor and say this should be looked into, or refer to an ear, nose, and throat specialist. So the focus is on understanding and support, and not so much devices. Devices are there to help, but if you don't have somebody who can explain these results clearly and help you do well with them, you won't do well. So let's talk a little bit about age-related hearing loss. Nobody can hide from it. It's happening to everybody. It's happening to me. My hearing is not as good as it was when I was 15. Now I'm 30, so it's not the same. It's very common and it's very normal. It happens slowly over time, which is why a lot of people don't notice they're having a difficulty, but maybe their partner does. Because they're the ones more affected by the fact that their partner's asking them for repetition. It becomes a frustrating thing in a relationship, whether that's with your parent, with your partner, with your children, your grandchildren. And it often affects the high frequency sounds first, and unfortunately, that's all of our speech sounds. So the word sat, cat, hat, bat, rat. If you don't see my lips moving, it could sound like any of those words, which really changes the meaning of a sentence. You might notice that the TV volume has to be increased, or other people notice that the TV's louder than it used to be. Everybody is mumbling. Again, that goes back to not hearing those soft speech sounds and only hearing the vowels. So as we age, we keep that low frequency hearing so that the vowel sounds, the e, oo, ah, which is why it sounds like everybody just talks with a mouth of marbles. So it's important to know that age-related hearing loss is not your fault. It's a very normal part of aging. And knowing about it will give you the power to treat it and do well. So next I want to talk about auditory deprivation. So auditory deprivation is what we risk when we don't treat a hearing loss. So you can think of your hearing as a muscle. Our ears pick up the sound and hear it, but our brain gives meaning to that sound. And if your brain is going years and years and years without ever hearing the S sound, it will start to forget how to process that sound. So that means that if you do acquire hearing aids later, after you've had a hearing loss for 10 years, will sound be louder? Yeah. It won't always be clearer though, because the brain has lost the ability to process the sound, even when it's at a level that is loud enough for you to hear. So it's like a muscle. We don't exercise our biceps, we're not gonna have biceps. If we're not hearing the S sound, our brain will forget how to understand that sound. So that means the earlier you identify a hearing loss that needs to be treated and you get hearing aids, your brain is still going to be hearing those sounds because you've given the brain access to them again. And then if you're wearing your hearing aids regularly, the idea is your brain will never forget how to understand those sounds. So early support helps keep the brain engaged, and early action doesn't mean that you need hearing aids right away. Early intervention can sometimes just mean getting a baseline assessment done. So if you're 50 or older, you should go get a baseline. They're usually free, it's quick, it's painless, and it just gives you a little more information about your health so that you can make informed decisions. I want to read you a Facebook post. It's about hearing loss. It was written by somebody who has hearing aids and hearing loss, and I think it just summarizes what I was just explaining really well, and how it's not always about volume. So I'm going to read it for you. I can hear you, I just can't understand you. So people do what they think helps. They get louder, they repeat the sentence, but louder, sharper, faster, as if volume is the problem. For many deaf and hard of hearing people, it isn't. Because louder doesn't mean clearer. It often means more distortion, more background noise, more effort, more fatigue. Sound doesn't arrive neatly, it arrives crowded. Words overlap, consonants blur. Important pieces drop out. Turning the volume up doesn't fix that. It actually can make it worse. That's why someone might say, I heard you, and still miss the meaning. It's not confusion, it's processing. Clarity comes from facing the person, speaking naturally, slowing down slightly, reducing background noise, using captions or visual cues, not from shouting. Volume assumes the ears are the issue. Clarity understands the brain is doing the extra work. So when people keep turning the volume up, many deaf people stop correcting them. They nod, they smile, they let it go. Because explaining again can be exhausting. So if someone says, can you say that another way? Or can you slow down a bit? They're not asking for more sound, they're asking for access. So when I saw that, I thought that that really summarized what it's like for someone to live with a hearing loss, because people often will just repeat things louder. That's not always helpful. So again, baseline hearing tests are very, very valuable, and monitoring those changes over time can give you an idea of how quickly things are changing. Education matters, and earlier care leads to better outcomes. So if you get hearing aids as soon as someone says you should, a professional, you're gonna do a lot better through the rest of your life with those hearing aids. So, how can we conserve our hearing? There's a few ways we can do that. Protect the hearing that you have. So the world that we live in is very, very noisy. Working with power tools, lawnmowers, going to concerts, events. The world is a noisy place. So we need to protect our hearing. There are custom hearing protection solutions that are available, and I do provide them at Wellness Lab. So custom means that it fits in your ear and your ear only. So if you have a hard time wearing headphones, wearing earplugs because they make your ears sore or they don't stay in, a custom hearing protection solution would be the right one for you. So there's instances where people wear them. Sleeping, if you have a partner that snores and it drives you insane, we make sleeping plugs that are small and fit in the ear that are comfortable to sleep in. If you've had a hole in your eardrum and you can't go swimming and you miss going underwater, we can make swim plugs to protect the ear from the water. They actually float if you lose it, so it's pretty neat. We can also make plugs for hunting. So for those of you that like to go bird hunting in the fall, there are ones that have impulse filters where when you actually fire the gun, the filter shuts and protects your hearing, but still allows you to hear the birds running around. You can also get them for working in noise. Again, this is a type of plug that has a filter that allows you to hear the person you're working with in that noisy environment, but as soon as that steel on steel or that really loud sound occurs, the filter shuts and protects your hearing. The other type that I wear, and a lot of people don't know about, are musicians' plugs. So they have a filter that just takes the sound down a little bit. So at a concert, what it does is it takes the distortion out and protects my hearing so that the music sounds better, and I'm not going to leave there with ringing ears or feeling like I can't hear. So the other service that I offer out of Wellness Lab is professional earwax removal. So if anyone has ever had their ears cleaned before, you're probably familiar with having that water blasted into the ear. It can be an uncomfortable experience for many people to have water in their ear. So what I use at Wellness Lab is a video otoscope. So that means I have a TV screen. You see inside your ear canal on the screen. So we get to see what we're working with. Then I clean your ear with suction, so it's a lot comfortable. It's just a bit noisy, but it's gentle, safe, effective. The number one way I like to remove wax. And then you get to see your ear after. So you get to see before and after, and so you know that they're clean and that we've done a good job. It's also just very educational to be able to show someone inside their ear canal. If they're a Q-tip user, which is not good, I can usually tell just by looking in your ear, and I can show you why I can tell. So usually there will be a red mark in your ear canal from where the Q-tip has poked. So it's a really great counseling tool just to educate you a little bit more on how your ears work and how they function. So going forward today, if anyone has any questions for me, I really encourage you to come chat with me one-on-one. I could talk about this stuff all day long. And I do have a handout that summarizes everything I've talked about today, as well as pricing and everything for my services. So just to wrap it up, hearing health is brain health and will improve your quality of life. Do not wait until it's too severe. Being proactive is empowering, and just really, really look after yourself and do everything you can to stay active. Thank you so much. Yes, is there any questions?
Yes. So you mentioned having a baseline hearing test done. Is that something that you can do for us, or do we have to go see our doctor?
Good question. So Henry asked if I provide baseline hearing tests. Unfortunately, at this time I don't have the equipment to do it. When I do chat with people in my office, though, I can get a good idea of if you might need one anyway. Like again, you're saying people are mumbling, TV's louder. And you don't need a referral for a hearing test. A lot of people think you need a referral. You don't. You can just call a hearing clinic in Thunder Bay and book a hearing test, and they would be happy to do that for you. It's a good question. Anyone else?
I don't know if people here know, but if you're a hunter, you can get hearing aids at reasonably priced that have a lock on the adjustment.
Oh.
So if you fire a gun, it won't let the sound pass those hearing aids.
So you're saying there's a hearing aid with an impulse filter in it. You may be talking about sound gear. Does that sound familiar? Sound gear is another product that I can get through Wellness Lab. So he's talking about a product line called Sound Gear. It's through the company I get my earplugs from, and it's the specialized hunting plug. So what it is, it's an electronic plug, meaning that it has to be charged, but it will amplify high frequency sound. So if you are someone who has a hearing loss and you like to hunt, you're gonna need to hear the high frequencies better, but protect yourself from the loud gunshot. And this is an electronic earplug that does that. It's very cool. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay.
I recently went for a hearing checkup in Thunder Bay because I noticed a big changes,
Mhm.
and it was free. It was really good. And I thought we tried selling some. And they
Okay.
said, no, it's good for now and come back in years. And
Perfect. Yeah, and I think that there's a stigma that we're salespeople. I never made more money for how many hearing aids I sold. That was never how I was. My job was. Some places are commission based, but most aren't. So when you do go to a hearing clinic, if they're recommending you a hearing aid, it is because it is typically in their best interest. Most of the people, I would hope all of the people, but most of the people I've interacted with in this industry are in it because they care. They care about people and their hearing and yeah. So I'm glad you had a good experience. Yes.
If someone's having trouble with their hearing aids that don't sit properly, would you be able to help them, or would they have to go back to expert hearing?
So with the hearing aids, because I don't carry like the earpieces and all the little maintenance components for the hearing aids, I could look at the fit and see why it might not be fitting and say, oh, the wire's too short or too long, or the earbud's too big, but I wouldn't be able to fix it. I could probably figure out why it's not staying in, but I wouldn't be able to fix it because I don't have the tools for that. Anybody else? Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone, for having me today, and I hope you come chat with me at my booth.
So, as you know, I'm Ms. Close. I've lost some of my presenters, but this gives me, at lemons I turned it into lemonade. It gives me an opportunity to talk to some of our exhibitors and put them on the line and let them introduce themselves. So I'm going to do a couple now, and then I'm going to let you guys go get another coffee, and then we're going to do a couple draws. We'll keep going.
My name is Montana. I'm the public health nurse here in Terrace Bay and Schreiber. I am here with some promotional items about fall prevention for seniors, as well as some exercise bands and exercises that seniors can do with the resistance band, sitting and standing exercises. I've got some information about vaccines, because that's another big part of what I do, and some info about our seniors free dental care program in Ontario.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, everyone take a break, have a coffee, visit the bathroom if you need to, and we're going to do a couple of draws. Lisa Winters. Where are you, Lisa?
I'm Matt Burinsky,
I'm Stu Burinsky.
and we're here representing the Cascals Hiking Club. We're here to just put on information about the hiking club, and we have information on easy to moderate hikes today, because this is our demographic that we're presenting to today. So we wanted to make sure we got that information out, because when they look at the Cascals, they go, oh, no, we're not walking the Cascals. But you can, there's other short little easy pieces you can walk, as long as we can point them out to you.
I'm Catherine, this is Lynn. We are with the Schreiber Fire Department, and we're out today to spread the message of keeping your homes and entryways free of clutter, so that if we need to come help you, it's a little easier access.
I have to say that it goes without saying that my Schreiber Senior Center Committee is the best committee in the world. Let's just put it out there. Thank you again, everyone. Thank you, I really appreciate it.